Welcome back, everyone, to the Box Office Breakdown Show here on Max House Movies. My name is Max Lidberg. Today, we're breaking down this past weekend's box office, the final weekend in the month of July, July 28th to July 30th. We'll break down the 2023 domestic worldwide numbers as well as looking forward to a couple big movies hitting theaters this upcoming week. So welcome to a brand new video here at Max Talk Movies. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do this box office breakdown show weekly, as well as other movie reviews, TV show reviews, and movie rankings. So please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on kind of the final excitement of this box office time here the last 2 weeks? Barbenheimer. Have you gone to see movies that you normally don't see? What are your thoughts on a lot of the movies, and what are you going to see this upcoming week in theaters? Please like the video, guys, the thumbs up buttons. Without further ado, let's get into this weekend's box office with this past weekend domestically. It's the United States and Canada, from July 28th to July 30th. And of course, in first place in its second weekend is Barbie from Warner Brothers Discovery. 93 million in its second weekend, only dropping 43%. Even gained 94 theaters in its second weekend. Now up to 351 million domestically so far on its run. Truly a great hold for Barbie. We'll talk about Oppenheimer's equally great hold as well, but this is a movie that, yes, there's definitely a lot of passionate haters out there, but while there's a lot of passionate haters for this movie out there, there's even more people who hit this target audience that are loving this movie, seeing it over and over again. This is truly a phenomenon, and as I said, it was a big win last week. Obviously, Greta Gerwig is now one of the biggest directors now working today in Hollywood, but it's also a big win, as I said, for the two stars last week, Gosling and Robbie, who haven't had really much success at the box office as leads, as pure lead characters. And for them, this is another huge win for Warner Brothers Discovery. They're continuing to advertise. You see all types of people on just in pop culture now just wearing Barbie things since this movie has come out. This has become a true event film. You don't really see that from non-action movies for a event party type movie that brings these many people to the theater. This movie cracked the code. I think this shows you that not just action movies can be blockbusters, and also original films. Now, some people can say original films. This obviously is an IP from Mattel, but this is not a 7th, 8th, or even 5th film into a franchise. It's a first, and obviously everyone just keeps asking for Greta Gerwig to do sequels. We'll see. She said she's open to doing a sequel, but hasn't really. She said, it was also an interview where she said that she's kind of spent all of her ideas on this movie. She's already locked down by Netflix to make a couple Narnia films. So we'll see what Warner Brothers Discovery chooses to do with this franchise moving forward. Very similar to Barbie, Oppenheimer only dropped 43% in its second weekend, 46.7 in its second weekend. It gained 37 theaters. It's now up to 174.5. Again, this is a huge success for Christopher Nolan and now his new partnership with Universal. A big win for this movie. Again, you don't not to see non-action movies be event films like Barbie, but you don't really see 3-hour serious talky dramas make this type of money at the box office. All those different genres thrown at you, or things, 3 hours being very talky, being a drama. You don't really see these movies get to this much at the box office. And I think this is really showing you that while, yes, Spielberg is probably the most iconic and the best director working today, so you have guys like Tarantino and Denis Villeneuve and now Greta Gerwig, Nolan now has really proven that he's kind of the only director out there working today that does not need a leading movie star, to get movie tickets to the theater. And he really does prove it with Oppenheimer. He did with Dunkirk, but this is far outreach Dunkirk at the box office. Cillian Murphy is not a proven lead actor in Hollywood, especially in movies, especially a guy who can sell movie tickets. He's very much a supporting actor for the last 20 years. But Nolan's name is what really sold this movie for a lot of people. And you've even seen with Spielberg in his recent movies, they don't do great box office. No one really saw The Fabelmans or West Side Story, which are both Oscar-nominated films, at the box office the past couple of years. BFG, even Ready Player One, these are not monster successes, Nolan is very consistent. That's because his name alone can sell a movie, which I think is very fascinating. The big new movie of the weekend only got to number 3 this weekend, which is Disney's Haunted Mansion, $24 million in its opening weekend. This is I think it's a major disappointment for Disney, but this was expected. Not just did it come out the week after Barbenheimer, because a lot of people have been saying who've seen the movie that it feels like more of a Halloween themed movie than it does a summer blockbuster film. Now, again, this was actually, if you guys don't know, this was the original release date for the Marvels, but due to reshoots, Haunted Mansion moved up to this date and flip-flopped with the Marvels. Marvels then moved to the November date, and Haunted Mansion took the place of the Marvels. Now, obviously, this will work out for Disney, as Haunted Mansion will probably be ready for Disney Plus during Halloween. I think that's why we'll see how it does during Halloween season to see this movie is truly a success. But it's bad news for a lot of the actors. This is Wallace is I love this cast in this movie. A lot of these people just don't bring butts to seats, and this is a big miss, I think, for Lakeith Stanfield, who is trying to spread his wings to the lead actor. Sorry to bother you. This movie, there's a couple others, but he's not this movie star type person to bring people to theater. Nor is a lot of the other cast, Owen Wilson, Rosario Dawson, Tiffany Haddish. They heavily promoted Jamie Lee Curtis. That didn't really work either. But also what's shocking, if you look at the demographics of the movie, in the ranked fourth out of race is Black, is Black audience members. And this is a lot of Black actors in the movie. As I said, Lakeith Stanfield, Tiffany Haddish, Rosario Dawson, a lot of them. And for them not to show up to support, to see a lot of Black actors in the movie is definitely jarring. So Haunted Mansion at number 3. One of the other stories of the box office is Sound of Freedom. It's now in its 4th weekend. It gained another 130 theaters this past weekend. It only dropped 35% to make another 12.8 million. It's up to 149.3. Now, again, you have to take that number with a grain of salt. A lot of churches have even been reported on that they've just simply sold out movie theaters by buying off the tickets. Even if 1 or 2 people show up to the entire theater, the theaters are sold out. So this number is definitely coming into question. But as I said, the past couple of weeks, the goal of Sound of Freedom seemed to be to get in the conversation. This movie has taken over Hollywood headlines for a month now, and it will continue unless some other movie trumps it. But Sound of Freedom still making those headlines in Hollywood. And wrapping up the top 5 from Paramount is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, dropping another 45%, 10.6 million in its 3rd weekend. It lost over 1,000 theaters in its just 3rd weekend. As I talked about, Haunted Mansion came in and got in a lot of theaters, but obviously Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Sound of Freedom gained theaters. So just shows you where not a lot of interest in this movie anymore. It's up to 139.1 domestic, doing much better internationally than it is domestically. Now, still, obviously hindsight is 2020, but obviously this movie could have easily been the movie of the month of August. August is usually not a month with a lot of big movies, and this August seems very lukewarm on any movies making a huge impact at the box office. So I think Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning really could have benefited from releasing in August and being the only big release in August. We'll see if Dead Reckoning Part 2 does better when it's obviously not going up against a juggernaut like Barbie and Oppenheimer. But we shall see. Again, audience scores and critic scores are so good for this movie, but it really got its ass kicked by 2 other movies. When we look at the overall domestic numbers of the year, Super Mario is still number 1 with 574. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is at number 2, 378. That's followed by, right closely at 358 is, by 20 million back, is Guardians Volume 3. Barbie in just 10 days is at number 4 domestically, 351. So it really needs another 27 million to be the 2nd biggest movie of the year domestically. Little Mermaid is at 5. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is at 6. John Wick Chapter 4 is at 7. Oppenheimer, and also in just in 10 days, is the 8th biggest movie of the year domestically. It needs 13 million to pass John Wick Chapter 4. Another around 30 million to pass Quantumania. So still good numbers incoming for both those movies. And then wrapping up the top 10 is Indiana Jones, Destiny, and Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Again, so far this year, 17 $100 million films so far domestically. See if that number continues to grow. We're already past the halfway point of the year. And then looking worldwide, Super Mario, still the biggest movie of the year, 1.3 billion. The question is, can Barbie get to that point? We'll talk about that in just a second. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is the number 2 now, worldwide with 837. Barbie, in just 10 days, is the third biggest movie of the entire year worldwide, 774 worldwide right now. It should be able to pass Guardians Volume 2 this weekend, be the number 2 movie. The question is, can it top Super Mario's 1.3 billion? I think it has a great chance to, especially with really no major movies hitting theaters for the next month or two. Barbie could become the biggest movie of the year so far. Fast X is at number 4. It's 719 million worldwide, followed by Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse at number 5, 682. Then at number 8, Little Mermaid worldwide with 560. And wrapping up the top 10 is Quantumania at 463. As I said, there are movies hitting theaters this upcoming weekend, releasing basically starting Tuesday afternoon, but technically on Wednesday is the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that's getting rave reviews. That movie's hitting theaters technically on August 2nd, but you can start seeing it on August 1st. And then also the other big movie coming out this weekend is The Meg 2, The Trench, starring Jason Statham. That is also hitting theaters. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is Paramount. Meg 2, The Trench is from Warner Brothers Discovery. So that is this past weekend's box office. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. More reviews coming to the channel. I'll see you guys soon.